This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Thursday morning, Seth Merrow and Jeff Carl. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Seth. Good to be here after a few days off, but not too bad getting in here today. Roads are nice, but they are calling for a little bit of an ice storm tonight, so we'll have to be a little careful tomorrow.
Yeah, you said that just before we went on the air. I had not heard that. I don't want to hear that.
No, I don't want to hear that either.
I am ready for things
I actually
to turn.
got a surprise phone call yesterday from Jean-Luc Samin down in New York that he was concerned. I guess he has a townhouse up in Saratoga, and they're having some issues with the roof leaking. You want to know if I had a snow rake to go over and do his townhouse for him? I did not, but at least he reached out to me. You know.
Everybody's in the same boat. The snow rakes,
Yep.
the ice choppers, and it is that time of year, unfortunately. And it's going to warm up. In fact, yesterday I was getting dripping off the roof. Things had warmed up a little bit, so we'll get a couple of days of that. So I went out. I did not really have enough to snow blow or anything, but I thought, well, if it's going to warm up over the next couple of days, so I cleared the walk again.
I did
so that
same thing.
with the warming up, we'll get down to the pavement hopefully, and it's around the corner. It has to be around the corner. Certainly, both the Racing Forum, Dick Girardi wrote an article, and then there was an article also in the Blood Horse commenting on the cancellations.
Oh yeah,
this season. I mean, it's really just places like Parks and Charlestown and Penn National. Really, up until this past weekend, Laurel was doing okay. But then they lost the weekend. They've rescheduled their Saturday stakes from last week for this coming Saturday. So, but boy, the weather has really taken a toll.
According to the Blood Horse, using Equibase statistics, 69 full cards have been canceled since the first of the year. 7 others have been shortened. Charlestown leads the way with 17 lost programs.
Yeah, brutal. And you mentioned you haven't been in here in a few days. We haven't seen you since they run the Southwest on Monday. Been getting everybody's opinion on that. The top two, certainly. The top two came in. There were some. That was that mix of horses. There was proven horses. There were some horses with some promise, and then there was some horses that you just think the folks wanted to get in there, maybe see what they had. I was a little disappointed with horses with promise like Paganal and Bourbon Eyes, who didn't run as well as I would have hoped. I was really horses that had shown a little something, and we're looking to validate that. Out of that group, the top 2 finishers did their job. Louis Flower was a complete disappointment running last. He was the winner of that Springboard Mile. But I think the top 2, again, they had something coming out of the 2-year-old year, made their 3-year-old debuts, and I think validated their horses to watch now.
Yeah, it just looks like the cream rose to the top. Tapiture still looks like he has a little room for improvement. He was kind of snaking it down the lane a little bit when he got out in front. But again, that's 2 victories in a row. It's a nice victory off a layoff. Strong Mandate just did not have a winning trip whatsoever. He was off poorly, then wide up the backstretch, made that middle move on a wide middle move, which never bodes well for the stretch run, but he held on for second. So I think both of them are going to move forward, but I agree with you. I didn't see anything behind them that excited me as well. Maybe this is an up-and-comer. So I don't think nobody really changed our outlook any, but it's nice to see at least those 2 horses perform the way we expected to.
Right on Curl in 3rd, Coastline 4th, but they were pretty well back. Between 2nd and 3rd, 6 lengths. Some horses that maybe in the "what have you done for me lately" kind of category, you give them one more. Although now Coastline has really strung together a couple of disappointing performances, and if you go back to the Delta Jackpot 3, so it's getting to the point now where some of these are maybe starting to define themselves a little bit. But I think again the top 2 look pretty good going forward.
And you know what happens with the point system, and some of these horses like a Bourbon Eyes was only making his 3rd career start. Strong Mandate, Tapiture, they had that many starts as 2-year-olds. So you're really behind the 8 ball initially, and unless you're extraordinarily talented, it's going to get exposed, and that's what was exposed in the Southwest.
And you make a great point about being lightly raced too. I mentioned Paganel. Paganel only had the one career start, and it may just be, that's asking a lot to go from the maiden debut effort into a really salty graded stakes race.
Yeah.
So this horse may, by the time we get 2 or 3 months out, may turn out to be a nice stakes quality horse even. But they may just press the reset button now. And try to get
and say, well, maybe we won't go toward the Kentucky Derby Triple Crown, but maybe later on in the year, give them a chance to develop.
ESPN put out their inaugural 2014 Kentucky Derby Power Rankings. I'm actually one of the voters
there you go.
On there. And their first Power Rankings, Cairo Prince 1, Honor Code 2, Candy Boy 3, and there's a tie in the 4th position, Tapiture and Top Billing. And Strong Mandate, Commissioner, Shared Belief, Bayern, Samrot, and there's a tie in 10th too, Samrot and Midnight Hawk. Rise Up is also tied for 10th. You get down in the list a little bit, maybe Samrot, Midnight Hawk, and Rise Up I'm not that enthusiastic about, but otherwise the list. And Shared Belief, I have my list here someplace, I think. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it now, how I voted. Yeah, there we go, how I voted. I'm not sure, I don't think I put Shared Belief on mine at all. I didn't. And at this point, Shared Belief to me looks like a little too far behind the 8 ball. Honor Code's getting there, but they're at least on the track with Honor Code and have something pointed out. Shared Belief, not so much. So Shared Belief sitting on the current, again, ESPN rankings at number 8. I didn't vote for him, and as I say, it just looks like he's up against it at this point.
It's starting to be, fitness and everything is going to start coming into question because he hasn't done anything serious. I don't know if he's going back to the track. At least Honor Code did work. I think it was last Wednesday. Still a little concerned about Honor Code because, he worked last Wednesday. Everything went well. From what I hear, he's doing fine. But going to be pointing toward the Rebel Stakes, I believe. But hasn't gone back to the work tab. And maybe there's, we still have a few days, but generally 7 days is, the optimum. So maybe Shug is backtracking from the Rebel, and maybe he'll work this weekend. But we'll have to wait and see. But I still need to see a little bit more from Honor Code. Talent-wise, I can see why it's in the 2nd spot. Certainly, I have no qualms whatsoever with Cairo Prince being in the top spot. And we're going to learn more this coming weekend with the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Southwest was a very salty 3-year-old race, but this weekend, the Fountain of Youth and the Risen Star, both Gulfstream and Fairgrounds, a couple of very nice races. And I put Cairo Prince on top myself, moved Tapiture in the 2nd place, and Top Billing. Those were my top 3. So, again, it's that time of year where folks are taking a look, and with this weekend, it's going to parse itself out some more. And further define the contenders and the pretenders down at the Gulfstream and the Fairgrounds this weekend. All right, we're going to take a look at Florida racing for this afternoon. Jeff's going to take a look at Gulfstream. I'm going to kick things off looking at Tampa Bay.
The opener at Tampa Bay is 1 mile and 40 yards. It is a claiming event. Fillies and Mares 4 and up, which has never won 2 races. The claiming price is $8,000.
And just going back to yesterday, I did Turf Paradise. It was another one of those days where winners on top, had a couple of winners on top, but overall I was pretty happy with the results. I had 1, 2 reverse exactas, top pick and 2nd pick flip-flop, called a couple of plays of the day, and they both hit. Didn't knock it out of the park, but we had a $30 exacta and a $35 exacta. So again, they didn't knock it out of the park, but they did make a little bit of a profit, the plays of the day. Had some other races where boxing up the top 3 came in for some triples, boxing up the top 4. There were some superfecta finishes. Really, there was kind of only one race where my top picks weren't up there, at least making exacta finishes. And that, again, as an exacta player, that's what I look for. I'm willing to live by that winners on top scorecard, and we had a couple there, but that was a little light. But otherwise, the picks were all up in the mix. If you played around a little bit, could have made some money yesterday at Turf Paradise. Let's see what we do today at Tampa. The opener I have at 6, 4, 7, and 5. The number 6 is Purged and Proper. Just a horse that's on the improve, at least by the numbers, since coming to Tampa. Had started the career over at Gulfstream Park, moved over to Tampa. A nice win in the first start on the cross-state move. And then in the second start, as I say, The numbers improved, wound up running third, but that was in against limited winners, so sometimes they move a condition. It takes a little bit of education for a start or two, but the number moved forward nicely and in a fashion that I think fits well with this bunch. So I'll put Purged and Proper on top. Second spot, the number 4, Cotton Kingdom. This horse actually, on the numbers and the last race, this horse would actually be my top pick. I just couldn't pull the trigger with the 3% trainer. Now, that hurt me yesterday at Turf Paradise. We know in those maiden races, I always like to take a look at the first-time starters, and there was a very nice first-time starter. Not very nice. There was a nice first-time starter in kind of a weak field at Turf Paradise yesterday, but the trainer just was not showing any kind of stats. But the first-time starter outran the trainer, and I was sitting on the sidelines, but there was a nice Indigo Shiner first-time starter yesterday at Turf Paradise. So sometimes these guys get the right horse, trainer, or jockey. They may not have the numbers that bounce off the page, but they can get it done. So again, King Cotton, if you like this one, I wouldn't talk you out of it. I think on the numbers, this horse may have a little bit of an edge. Again, we got a trainer that, or a jockey so far at the meet that is just a little light getting to the winner's circle, so I couldn't pull a trigger, but do have Cotton Kingdom in the mix. And then in the third spot, A2 Pego, I just think fits with this bunch. You look at the numbers and the finishing positions and whatnot and the complexion of the rest. There's some back numbers that actually make this horse potentially the one to beat, but I got to focus a little bit more on the arrival at Tampa. And it looks like the buyer figures are kind of going in the wrong direction. But I still think, given this field, probably fits decently. So in the opener, I have it 6, 4, 7, and 5.
Second race at Tampa Bay Downs is 5 furlongs. It is a maiden claiming event for 3-year-old fillies. The claiming price is $12,500 down to $10,000.
I have it 6, 2, 3, and 5. The number 6 is Distinctive Humor. And speaking of first-time starters, this is one with distinction. I like with distinction runners first time out of the box. The dam, as far as I could tell, this is her first foal to race. So there wasn't too much to find on the bottom side of the breeding. Trainer can do okay first time out. I think the works look pretty good. There's a bullet work back on January 5th, and then just a nice steady string of works. And it's just one of those fields where it's not going to be a shock to see a first-time starter get it done. So we'll take a little shot with the number 6, Distinctive Humor. Number 2, Hearsay Social, just has the best numbers of those horses that have raced. Now, this horse has had 6 tries and hasn't gotten it done, but did have the best finishing position of the career so far last time out with a good second-place finish after having shown some early speed. So again, off of the last, and given the numbers this one is fired, Hearsay Social should be in the mix. Number 3, Winning Forecast, a couple of starts so far, maybe in a little over its head last time at the 25 level, but 2 starts back was at this 12.5 and ran very well, so could be moving back to the comfort zone. And I just will also note that the number 5 Classic Entry, another first-time starter, and I think there's some breeding here that makes this one a little bit interesting. I just, on the bottom side, it was, I could go either way, but this one had a full sibling called Classy Key that was 6th and 8th in only 2 career starts. Another sibling called This Side Up that won its career debut, but that was back in 2007 at Santa Rosa. So I think, as I say, there's maybe a little bit in there that is interesting, but you can go either way. But I wouldn't argue again with Classic Entry getting into folks' mix as well. There's just a little bit of breeding for that first-time starter that's interesting. So in the second race, I have it 6, 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah, I like those first-time starters and maiden claiming events myself. Moving on to race number 3 at Tampa Bay Downs, 6 furlongs. It is a claiming event for fillies and mares 4 and up, which have not won a race since August 20th. Claiming price is $5,000.
4, 7, 1, and 3. The number 4 is Nessfield, who might be primed to pop in the second start back. This horse laid off from July until February, had been racing late spring, early summer at Presque Isle, and again, had that layoff, comeback effort, an okay 4th place finish in a field of 8. Buyer figure wasn't much, but this horse has fired buyer figures that I think have an edge on this bunch. We'll have to get back closer to those today. But again, that last one might have been some good fitness, and this horse might move forward and be primed to pop. Picks up Daniel Santino in the saddle. That can't hurt either. Second spot, the number 7, Sexy Sandbagger. Just gets the position here off of the latest effort. Now, Was that an aberration? This horse was 53-1 when running second last time, a close-up second. So again, aberration, or maybe is this horse in some good form right now? I'll hope for the latter, because this horse has fired comparable numbers in the past. So, you know, sometimes at 53-1, they fire a decent buyer figure, a good finishing position, and you look, and it's just kind of an aberration compared to what you see. But there are races close enough to this on the page, and I'm just thinking Sexy Sandbagger might be in some good form right now. Excuse me. And then in the third spot, going to go with the number 1, Winking Star. This is another one. We had one like this earlier on the card. I think this is a one to beat if she's able to throw in one of her best efforts. You go back to a July race at Gulfstream Park, an 84 buyer figure with a big win at a $5,000 tag. Now we're second off a layoff. The last one showed some early speed before fading, drops about half a step down the claiming ladder. Again, I just think Winking Star, very, very dangerous, 5-2 on the morning line, but you have a trainer who is 0 for the meet, only 3 starts, but hasn't hit the board yet, and you have a 3% jockey. Again, this horse has some talent. Not going to surprise me if she betters my rating in here, but just on the low percentage connections, I couldn't move Winking Star up any further. In the third race, 4, 7, 1, and 3.
That's going to take us to race number 4 at Tampa, 1 mile and 40 yards. It is a claiming event for 4 and up, which have not won 2 races since August 20th, and the claiming price is $5,000.
6, 9, 2, and 4. And I had this labeled at the top of the page as a tough race because, I think the 4 I used, you could juggle them up. I think you could throw a few others in the mix. It's one of those races where you can make some cases for and against a bunch of them. But I put the number 6 on top trump card. Just seemed to get some education at the condition last time. Broke through an N1 calendar condition 2 starts back. Moved into this condition, had some nice early speed before fading late. Again, sometimes it takes him a race to kind of figure out that next connection. I think on the pace angle, might try to speed pop him and picks up Fernando de la Cruz today. That certainly is going to be a little bit of a bonus. So again, off of that last race, not so much. Off the race before, picking up De La Cruz, having some early speed. Okay, so there's some things to like, some things not to like, but I'll tilt slightly in favor of trump card. Second spot, the number 9, Longhammer. This is another one that got some experience at the N2 calendar condition last time, broke through N1 2 starts back, and did so with a nice buyer and nice finishing margin. The buyer figures over the last few have been of such a number that this one's going to be competitive with this field today if holding on to those numbers. Now, the numbers have been decreasing a little bit over the last few starts, but I think close enough consistent-wise that we'll probably be in the same ballpark today. So I think Longhammer is going to be competitive. And then the number 2, Treasured Kitten. This one, first off the claim for Dale Bennett, so this one moves to a high percentage barn, and also a barn that's pretty good first off the claim. However, 3-1 on the morning line. I think with Dale Bennett, Angel Serpa riding, I think this horse will take some action and validate that 3-1 morning line price. I think this horse may even float down from that. And I think this is a dicey drop off of the claim last time and off of 3 really disappointing duds. So moves into a barn that can certainly get a horse to improve first off the claim. But sometimes these drops are red flags. I think this is one of those situations. And, with the class relief, this horse may be able to overcome any, little dings that are affecting it over the past 3 starts. But I couldn't move the horse up any further than this. But I think you have to think about it and put it in the mix, certainly with the connections and the drop, but on the same level. As I said, there are things to like about horses in this race and things not to like. And in this particular case, they're the same thing. The drop, in one case, you can say, maybe I have an edge on this field with the drop. On the other hand, you say, I don't know, that drop's a little bit suspicious. So I got to have Treasured Kitten in the mix, but with some trepidation. 4th race today, 6, 9, 2, and 4.
The 5th race at Tampa Bay Downs. We're going to move to the turf course. We're going to go a mile. It is a maiden claiming event for 3-year-olds. Claiming price is $32,000 down to $30,000.
Going to go out to the AE list for my top pick, 12, 9, 3, and 5. The number 12 is That's a Kitten. Does get some class relief, moves out of the barn of Chad Brown into the barn of Wesley Ward. Still owned, however, as you might assume from the name That's a Kitten, still owned by Ken and Sarah Ramsey, but now comes over from the other side of the state to try company here at Tampa. So not only get some venue relief, but get some significant price relief as well. So I think That's a Kitten just could be a real contender if this one gets into the field on the class relief. Second spot, the number 9, Soldiers Home. Trainers runners, it's Dale Bennett, and Dale Bennett's runners tend to improve second time out of the box. This one's also dropping maiden special weight to maiden claimer, 10-1 on the morning line. I don't know if that'll hold up, but boy, if that does, certainly again on the connections and the class drop in the second career start, I think Soldiers Home becomes very, very interesting. Third spot, have the number 3, DW's Warrior. Just like this one, getting back on grass. The last couple of grass starts, 2 and 3 back, were pretty good, certainly number-wise as compared to the rest of this field. So I think the return to the turf is going to provide a little bit of a re-wake-up call for DW's Warrior. And I just also will mention the first-time starter. Have this one down in the 4th spot for me, number 5, Explore. Had a sibling called Galway that was 7th and 4th in 2 Belmont starts in 2013. Another sibling called Tuscarora Mill that was 10th in its only start. So on the bottom side, I couldn't get that excited, but I thought there was a little bit of nature and nurture there. But again, with the dam producing siblings that were not really precocious, I just couldn't move this one up any higher, but did want to note, I think Explorer might be interesting. It's just the breeding was, one of those where you were a little okay on the top half, not so much on the bottom half. In the 5th, I have it 12, 9, 3, and 5.
Well, the connections of Explorer had a nice week last week, owned and bred by the Firestones and trained by Arnaud Delacour. So barn is hot also. So we'll see how that first-time starter runs. There you have it, set selections for races 1 through 5 at Tampa Bay Downs. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll finish out today's Tampa Bay card. So please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV Network.
I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV Network. The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Shamrock Showdown on March 1st. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. Before the break, Seth gave you his selections for races 1 through 5 at Tampa Bay Downs. Let's move along to race number 6. It is 7 furlongs. It is a starter optional claiming event for 4 and up.
3, 5, 8, and the 1 entry. The number 3 is Rasta Friend, and just a horse that's in some pretty good form right now. Last 3 starts, a couple of wins, bookending a third place finish. They have been just looking. They've been at the 10, at the 12, 5, and then going back the 8,000 claiming level. This is an optional 8 claimer or starter allowance at the 5 level. So I think condition-wise, this horse is a nice fit. We go back, and I'm assuming fits into the condition off of that race 4 back at the 5 level. But most recently, again, the wins have been a little higher up than the condition. So I think class-wise, not only in good form, but class-wise, pretty good fit. Second spot, the number 5, Magnificent Wreck, goes first off the claim for Dale Bennett. Mentioned that one earlier. He's very good first off the claim. They claimed the horse for 8. But this is a horse that had been racing up at the Finger Lakes, came down to Tampa, nice second place finish back in December, claimed out of that one for $6,250. Off the claim, moved up to 8 and won very nicely. So I'm not quite sure we found the ceiling yet for this one. I think on the return to Tampa, maybe needed a race over the track coming down from Finger Lakes, but now has gotten its feet under it. And again, first off the claim for Bennett, kicks up to maybe a little tougher company today, but I think should fit nicely. Third spot, the number 8, Give Me a Drink. This is the other Dale Bennett horse, and do not leave this guy out of the mix. Certainly, the longer half of any uncoupled entry, always one you have to take a look at, particularly when you have a top trainer making the move. Daniel Santino on board, so I think Give Me a Drink is going to be an interesting play in here. I'm going to do a little 4-horse exacta box. We haven't called one today, and I just think the other half of the Bennett entry, and it is Dale Bennett, it is Daniel Santino. I don't know whether that'll hold up. We have 6-1 on the morning line, so I got 7-2, 9-2, 6-1, and then my Midwest Thoroughbred Jamie Ness entry there in the 4th spot, 3-1. If that morning line holds up, this exacta should offer some nice value. So we'll dip 4 deep, and again, take a look at the board, make sure it makes sense. But we'll box up the 4 in here: 3, 5, 8, and the 1 entry.
Tampa Bay's 7th race is 1 mile on the turf, is an allowance optional claiming event for 4 and up.
4, 7, 3, and 2. The number 4 is Avanzari. So far, so good. Goes out for Tommy Proctor. He's having a very good meet. Ronnie Allen on board. He's certainly having a very good meet. Combined, they're doing very well also. This horse started the career at Churchill Downs in November. Won nicely in the career debut effort under Julien Lepereau. Came down here to Tampa, allowance non-winners of 1. Won that very easily under Ronnie Allen. Again, it's just one of those best until beaten kind of scenarios. I don't think we found the ceiling for this one yet, and Avanzari looks absolutely logical. Second spot, the number 7, Big Blue Spirit. I'm going to draw a line through that last start. Now, that was back in May. There may have been some kind of ding in that race that sent this horse to the sidelines, but the races just prior to that, earlier last year, Keeneland and Gulfstream certainly showed plenty of talent. If we can get anywhere close to those numbers, I think Big Blue Spirit will be very, very dangerous in here. Question mark is the layoff, but we have some workouts underneath that says this horse should be okay. Might need one, but we'll take a little shot and throw this one into the mix. Third spot, the number 3, Sharp Omar. Just another horse that's in some pretty good form. Last 3 races, second place finishes, so maybe getting stuck in a little bit of a bridesmaid role, but it just has the look of me of maybe a horse that was facing horses that just were a little bit faster, so could only get the second spot, but I think this is a horse off of those last 3. Certainly has to be in your mix today, and it wouldn't shock me to see this one get up and win, but I think Avanzari, again, off the first 2, is clearly the one to beat in here. 7th race at Tampa, 4, 7, 3, and 2.
8th race at Tampa Bay down to 6 furlongs. It is a claiming event for fillies and mares 4 and up, which have never won 2 races. The claiming price is $25,000.
4, 8, 9, and 7. The number 4 is Tsunami Wave. And Tsunami Wave, just a horse that's in some pretty good form right now. And also have to like the jockey switch. Picks up Fernando de la Cruz. Last couple of starts, nice buyer finishes. And those were off a layoff. So nice couple of second place finishes. Buyer figure in both was nice, but improved a little bit, start 1 to start 2. Now we're third start off the layoff, same, pretty much the same condition and whatnot as the last 2. Again, I just think this horse is primed to pop a good one today, and the jockey switch attracted my attention. Second spot is the number 8, Rocket D. Kind of a similar scenario, just a horse that's in some pretty good form off the 2 starts since a little bit of a November to a late December layoff, couple of third place finishes, last time behind my top pick, Tsunami Wave, but also gets a jock switch that I think is beneficial, picks up Angel Serpa today. So pretty similar to my top pick, in some good form, like the jockey switch, and Rhinestone Diva in the 3rd spot. This horse was okay on the venue move coming down from Churchill in November to start at Tampa in the middle of January, broke the maiden for 25 that day, and just the fact that this horse has shown perhaps a little bit of a horse for a course kind of an angle. I think today, company, the water gets a little bit deeper, but I think Rhinestone Diva probably fits, and again, off a potential horse for a course kind of a thing, we'll throw that one in. In the 8 today, 4, 8, 9, and 7.
And we're going to wrap it up at race number 9 at Tampa Bay Downs. Onto the turf course, 1 mile. It is a claiming event for 3-year-old fillies.
2, 6, 9, and 10, and all 3 of my top picks have kind of a similar scenario in here on class drops. Number 2, Over the Cliff, last time for 20, 2 starts back for 35, broke the maiden 3 starts back for 40. Today in for 16. Today in for 16 and coming over from Gulfstream. So venue and price class relief will tilt a little bit in favor of Over the Cliff. 2nd spot, Splendor on the Grass, goes out for Dale Bennett, broke the maiden 2 back for 25, tried 25 last time. Obviously an open 25 is a lot saltier than a maiden 25. Goes in for a 16 tag today, having shown the speed in both of the last 2 starts. I think this class relief may be very, very beneficial for Splendor on the Grass. 3rd spot, the number 9, Tribute to Paul, yet another horse taking a little bit of a class drop. Broke the maiden 3 back for 10, then was in for 12.5 and got it done there. Claimed that day. They got ambitious off the claim, doubled the price to 25. Made an okay 5th. That was only a field of 6, but it was competitive at the 25 level. I think probably back at 16 is going to be a little closer to the comfort zone, however. In the 9th, 2, 6, 9, and 10.
And that's going to wrap up today's Tampa Bay Downs card. We're going to take another break. When we come back, I'll give you my picks for today's Gulfstream card. So please stay with us. You're watching the OTB TV Network.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Seth Merrow and Jeff Carl. I just took a look at Tampa Bay. Jeff's now going to shift our attention to Gulfstream. Their opener is a B-level claiming event, 12-5 tags, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, scheduled to go 7 furlongs.
You know, Seth, I believe this is my first time doing Gulfstream Park this winter, and here we see one of them 3-part conditions that we used to see in New York. You have to think with P.J. Campo, former racing secretary of New York, moving down to Gulfstream Park, he brought them with him. And the interesting thing about this 3-parter is that these are all 4-year-olds. So the third part really doesn't apply because you'd have to be at least a 5-year-old for it to apply. None of the horses in here are more than 4 years old, so we only got 2 parts to deal with. I, in the opener, went 4, 7, and 5. Here, the number 4, On Parole, is dropping down from 30,000, switching from the turf. Does have some early speed. The 2 wins, to her credit, have been in off-the-turf events. One was on a fast track, one was on a sloppy track. So I think the switch over and the drop down certainly is not going to hurt this this daughter of Put It Back come out of the Eddie Please the Barn. So let's put the number 4, On Parole, into the top spot. For second, I'm going to go to the number 7, Jean's Blue Moon. This is a 4-year-old with 3 wins, including its last race for the 12-5 beaten. Rallied after a poor break, so my top 2 choices are coming out of the Eddie Please the Barn. Edgar Prado rides this filly back, and they probably learned something when she broke poorly and rallied well, so I don't think he'll be sending her along. I think Edgar will take her back and be finishing up strong. Sometimes you learn things by accident, Seth, and that probably is the case with Jean's Blue Moon. I expect Edgar to ride her in similar fashion today. So I went 4, 7, and for third I went with the number 5, Paraguana, who's going to be exiting a front-running score for 12-5 Never Win 2 Life, so this is the next logical step. I don't know if this horse will be on the lead today, but again, maybe a little bit of a confidence booster last time. So 4, 7, and 5 in the Gulfstream Open.
Race number 2 is a state-bred maiden special weight event. These are 3-year-olds. They will go a quick 5.5.
I went 8, 6, and 3 here. The number 8, Oration, is your 9-5 morning line favorite and should be based on her nice debut on January 23rd, where she was a good second that day, ran nice and evenly, but just something to really build off of. Julian Leperoux rode her that day, obviously takes the call back, posted on the outside where she does have enough, or he has enough early foot. I don't think he's going to get hung out there too wide, so let's put Oration into the top spot. For second, I'm going to go with the 6, Pomeroy's Package. He's been off since June 2nd at Monmouth Park, where he showed a little bit of a speed in his debut, going 4.5 furlongs. Finished third that day, got beat a length. Obviously, something went wrong. He's been on the shelf ever since, but it's been working pretty nicely for his comeback now, and he's definitely has speed pedigree by Pomeroy out of an Honor and Glory mare. So again, long layoff, probably something happened, but at least he showed me something in that career debut, and at 10-1, I think he's interesting enough for me to put into the second spot. For third, I'll go with a first-time starter, number 3, Columbia County, who I like his final 2 works coming into this race. And again, speed pedigree by Congrats out of a Fortunate Prospect mare. So I think that, should have some early foot at 10-1. Let's put that one in there. And I regretfully left off the number 2 just because of his name, Simon Bar Sinister. Of course, we remember Simon Bar Sinister from the Underdog cartoons when we were kids. And this one obviously has the connections. Todd Pletcher and Johnny Valesca's aboard. I just didn't think the works were what I typically see from a Todd Pletcher first-time starter, albeit he is in a state bred. But, I'm going to pass on him, even though I love his name, Simon Bar Sinister. I'm sure Larry Culmus will have a lot of fun if he's coming down the lane in front.
Underdog. Absolutely. And what was Polly Purebred?
Sweet Polly Purebred
was
the girl, yep.
We're showing our age, John. The third at Gulfstream today. Although there's a commercial on now that uses the one where they get out of the subway train and catch up to it. They've been running during the Olympics, but they play the Underdog theme song. Gulfstream today, plain vanilla claimer, $12,500 tags. These are 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs.
I'm at 1, 6, and 2 here. The number 1, Becca Witt, dropping down from 25,000 to 12.5. And yeah, she faded badly on February 1st, but that was returning from a 5-month layoff. She has speed from the one post, so I'm not overly concerned the fact that she showed some speed last time and faded for 25. She probably needed the race. As I said, she was coming off a 5-month layoff. And I think she's going to be much tighter today. She's going to need to be busting out of the one hole. She's going to have to be sent along there. But I think that race really just served as a tightener, and now she's dropping from 25 to 12.5. So I think if she pops out of there with some extra conditioning in her, she'll be able to hold on. That's why I put the number 1 Becca Witt into the top spot. For a second, I went to the number 6, La Hija del Olga. Got up for a win at this level on February 8th and should get a similar setup. So, I think there's plenty of speed in here. Posted toward the outside for Elvis Trujillo. Again, should get a similar setup. I don't need her to win. I just need her to be second. So let's put her in the second spot. And for third, I went to the number 2, Sweet Kalia. 1 for 12 lifetime, but I'm looking for some horses that might be finishing up, and she's 15-1. And the reason I was looking for that is because there are several horses in here with speed. I'm hoping that Becca Witt has the most speed and should be able to pop out of there. But there's a couple that should be in hot pursuit of her. Hopefully Becca Witt takes care of them, and I get some horses closing to finish out my triple. So I went 1, 6, and 2 in the Gulfstream Park third race.
Fourth race today at Gulfstream, an allowance, it's an optional claim or starter allowance. Claiming price is $10,000. Starter allowance level is $6,000. These are fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 3/4 of a mile.
Well, they made it a little bit easier because none of these horses are in for the $10,000 portion. They're all in for the starter allowance portion of this race. I went 4, 6, and 5 here. The number 4, Vianney Lane, opened up in a similar race going a mile on February 13th, but couldn't quite hold on. She's going to be cutting back in distance today. I don't expect her to be on the lead today because there is quite a bit of speed in here. The 1, 2, and the 7 all have speed, but she is in 33 starts. She's 5 wins, 7 seconds, 3/3 at this distance, so she likes this 6-furlong distance. And again, I don't think she'll be on the lead, but I think she should be forwardly placed for Joel Rosario. Let's put her in the top spot because if the speed collapses in front of her, he'll get first run and be able to hold on. For second, I'm going to go with the number 6, Magic Melissa, who will be exiting a nice score for $6,250 open claiming event. She was 18-1 that day. That was on February 6th, and she had a little bit of a breather coming into that race. She had 2.5 months off, so I think that probably helped her a little bit. Again, a very nice score last time, so she's eligible for this condition. And again, I think she's going to set up behind the speed. She likes to be in a nice stalking position and should get a nice setup. Also, probably follow my top choice, number 4, Vianney Lane, around there. So let's go 4, 6, and the number 5, Wild Oration, will be my third choice. Going to go turf to dirt, dropping down from 25,000. You know what? But just equally adept at dirt as she is on turf. In fact, she has 5 wins on the dirt, and 3 of them have been on the turf of her 8 lifetime career wins. So again, she's versatile enough to go either way. I can't leave her out of the mix. 4, 6, and 5 in the Gulfstream fourth race.
Fifth race today looks like a fun little maiden special weight event. These are 3-year-olds. They're scheduled on the grass at 5 furlongs.
I went 9, 5, and 2. The number 9, Trouble with Girls. Now, if you want to see a horse that really took to the turf course and loves turf, watch this horse's race from January 17th at Tampa Bay Downs going a mile. It was his first start on the turf, and he was stretching out from sprint races. Seth, he absolutely loved it too much. He opened up 18 lengths down the backstretch, and of course, he just faltered down the lane. But I had to watch this race anytime a horse opens up by that far. And when he came out of the gate, it was instantaneously that this horse absolutely loves the turf. They came back subsequently. They wanted to run him on the turf for maiden 25,000. It was taken off at Gulfstream Park. They ran him in the slop, or he was an even second that day. And let me tell you something, Steph. If I was a trainer down in South Florida and this horse was in for 25,000, and I saw the way he handled that turf course, I would have reached in and grabbed him because there are so many turf sprints throughout the country, throughout the year that this horse looks like he'd fit into. You know what? I'm really not all that concerned about the rise up from the $25,000 claiming level because I didn't view this as a overly tough maiden special weight event. So again, just if you go back and take a look at his race at Tampa, this is a horse who absolutely loved the turf. He just really, really got over it well. I like the fact that he's going to be a little bit of a price today also at 10-1. For second, I went to the number 5, Winter's Gift. who is a firster by Ghost Zapper coming out of the Wesley Ward barn. And we know Wesley Ward does a very good job with first-time starters. Kent DeSormo aboard. I'm just thinking that this horse is going to need more distance than 5 furlongs. I think this will be a good foundation race for him. So let's put him in the second spot just based on the fact that Wesley Ward is his trainer. And for second, I'll go with the number 2, It's a Great Life. It's a Great Life was second for $50,000, claiming at his debut at Tampa Bay Downs. Disqualified to third he did a little bit of funny stuff down the lane. You know what? I know the $50,000 claimers aren't that tough at Tampa Bay Downs, but this one does have turf pedigree by Greatness out of an El Prado mare, and the connections were willing to bring him across the state to run him at Gulfstream Park. That's always a good sign that they must have a little bit of faith in this horse. So 9, 5, and 2 in the Gulfstream Park 5th race.
All right, that brings us to our last break for this hour. We'll take that, and then we'll come back and delve right back into the remainder of the Gulfstream Park card. Stay tuned.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Shamrock Showdown on March 1st. So sign up today, online at CapitalOTB.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. We will continue now our look at Gulfstream. Their race number 6 is a $20,000 maiden claimer for 3-year-olds, a mile on the grass.
I did check the Weather Channel for Miami today. 82 and sunny.
Nice.
All right, 1, 4, and 9 in the Gulfstream Park 6 race. The number 1, Laws of the City. I'm going to need him to run his race from 2 back where he was 3rd. Got beat 2 lengths for the maiden $25,000 level, so basically the same level. I'm going to forgive his last race, although he was the beaten favorite. It was taken off the turf, and he didn't, he really didn't have the kick that he had on the turf. I like the fact that he does have the 1 post with a little bit of early foot going that mile. Should be able to get a nice ground-saving trip around there. So let's put the number 1, Laws of the City, into the top spot. For second, I went with the number 4, Take My Time. His only turf start wasn't good. That was maiden special weight back in November, where it looks like he just absolutely never got involved whatsoever. So maybe there were some extenuating circumstances that don't show up on the page for a horse to not even get involved in a race. I'll draw a line through it. He's been claimed his last 2 races for 12-5 out of maiden claiming events, and at least he's starting to get involved in those races. He was involved early, and I think that helped him. So to switch back to the turf, I'm going to have to just draw a line through his only turf start. I'm thinking this is a different horse now than he was then. So at 6-1, let's put the number 4, Take My Time, into the second spot. And for third, I'm going to go with the number 9, Skylar Blue, who's dropping down from $35,000 to $20,000. He does own 2/3 at the $35,000 level. So maybe this drop will be enough to keep him on the board. Trained by my friend Jesse Campitelli, who's down there from Maryland, ridden by Elvis Trujillo. It's gotten a little bit hot lately. 1, 4, and 9 in the Gulfstream Park 6th race.
7th race this afternoon. It is a $35,000 claiming event. This time we're looking at 3-year-old fillies, 1 mile on the grass.
I'm going to go 1, 7, and 2. The number 1, Raising Passion. Going to be trying turf for the first time. But I like the way this horse got over the synthetic surface at OBS, ran in one of them OBS stake races they have in Ocala. And you know what? Maybe that was a harbinger of the way he might handle or she might handle the turf, because turf horses usually, show a little bit of something when they run on synthetics. And she faded quite a bit that day, but she probably was in over her head. But at least she got out to the front, apparently liked the surface. So at 12-1, let's put her in the top spot. Also going to be adding blinkers, which, again, coming out of that 1 hole, she should show some good early speed. And that's to me, going a mile or 7/8 on that turf course. You don't have much of a run into that turn, so the 1 hole I think is very advantageous. Let's put the number 1, Raising Passion, at 12-1 into the top spot. And for second, I'm going to go with the number 7, White Pants Knight. I'm not sure how that horse got named. I don't think I really want to know, but this one's dropping down from 75,000. Never won a race other than at 5 furlongs. It's going to be stretching out for the very first time. Got Joel Rosario aboard, so you've got a very capable rider there, especially horses on the stretch out. He can definitely keep them going. And she should certainly be on or near the pace, so there's enough angles there for me to want to put her into the mix. Let's put the number 7 in the top spot. And for third, I'm going to go with the number 2, Hard Knocking Lady. 20-1 out of the morning line. But she's going to be trying turf for the very first time. And she is out of a Sword Dancer mare, trained by her friend Howie Tesher. Remember Howie from all the years he spent in New York. And again, just a couple of different angles here. This filly did win first time out for 12-5 at Gulfstream Park, sprinting on the dirt. Horses that win first time out regardless of the level. At least they know what their job is. Maybe she was a little bit overmatched in her last start for 40,000. But you know what? She does have a little bit of turf pedigree. So let's put her in the third spot at a nice price. 1, 7, and 2 in the Gulfstream 7th race.
8th race this afternoon, optional claimer allowance, claiming tags 100,000, allowance non-winners are 3 other than. That makes condition and price both a little bit tough in here. I'm just looking, is anybody in for the 100? Nobody's in for the 100, so they're all in for the N3 other than. These are 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs.
Boy, this is a tough event for only 5 in here. I went 4, 3, and 1. The number 4, Happy My Way, you just can't ignore the last 2 races. They've just been very, very good. One is 2 other than, then came back in the Sunshine Million Sprint. Was a very solid second, and if you're really into buyers, ran a 101 buyer, then a 100 buyer. Just real quantum leap improvement over his previous races where maybe, they tried to stretch him out, they tried turf. I guarantee you they'll never run this horse 2 turns ever again with the numbers that he's throwing out there. So again, it's just too hard to ignore. Joe Orsino, Joe Bravo back aboard, who rode him in the Sunshine Million Sprint. So let's put Happy My Way in the top spot. He's going to have his hands full with the number 3, Honorable Dylan, who was last year's Hutchinson Stakes winner. Then he didn't quite follow that up. And again, they tried to run him eventually. They always try to stretch him out, which again, I don't think they'll ever do that again to this horse. His first race off the layoff, he ran the Woody Stevens in June, didn't run so well, went to the shelf, came back at Aqueduct and ran in this same kind of level, was a good second that day. Then they went down to Florida. They tried to stretch him out to the mile. He ran into a horse named Revolutionary, who was just dynamite that day, not so much in the Don handicap. And I wanted Revolutionary that day because one thing I thought was really cool about the Fox Sports thing is they had the contest where you pick the winner over the internet, who you think is going to win. Right. And if that horse wins, you get a trip to the Florida Derby. And I went with Revolutionary. Todd Pletcher let me down there. I mean, that horse never picked his feet up. Yeah. But he certainly picked his feet up that day against Honorable Dylan. So, again, I'll draw a line through that race of Honorable Dylan. I think he's a better sprinter. And like I said, just like Happy My Way, I guarantee you they never run this horse at an extended distance ever again. For third, I went with the number 1, He Looks the Part, who should be running late. He's been off since November 6th, where he won a money allowance race at Hawthorne Park. I left out the number 5, Undrafted. owned by Wes Welker. He was undrafted coming out of Texas A&M, but what a nice football career he's had. But I think this horse probably needs a race, and then they might be looking down the road to put him back on the turf. He's the son of Purim, who's also the sire of Twilight Eclipse, and he had a couple nice performances on the turf to finish out his 3-year-old year last year. So I think this is a race they're just trying to get some fitness under him. And the number 2, Dad's Laugh, is 2-1, but I really didn't see that also. Like I said, this is a very tough event, but I'm going to go 4, 3, and 1.
9th race today is an optional claimer starter allowance. This time, both of the prices are $20,000. These are fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, 5 furlongs on the turf.
5, 7, and 1 here. The number 5, Trippin' Along, is the only entrant that's in for the $20,000 portion because she has never run for $20,000 or less. But I'm going to put her in the top spot. I'm going to toss her last race where she stretched out to a mile, and she's dropping down from $30,000 to $20,000. She had some limited starts last year, so obviously there's probably some issues with this horse. But you know what? She was second in a $75,000 stake in Tampa Bay Downs, going 5 furlongs on the turf. So again, I like to cut back, and she's the only one that's in for the $20,000, but I think that's reasonable. Let's put her in the top spot at 10-1 with Dylan Davis. For second, I went with the number 7, Countess Emma, who is, again, a confirmed turf sprinter. Seth has educated me on in these turf sprints. You got to go with those confirmed turf sprinters. And this one doesn't win often. She only won 1 race in 2013, 1 in 2012. But the 1 race that she won in 2013, she was returning from a layoff from October to March. This time the layoff will be from October to late February. So she shows me that she runs well fresh. And at 20-1, she's interesting enough for me to put in the mix. And for third, the number 1, Be My Love. Again, another turf sprint specialist, 7 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. She is at her proper level. The 1 post can be a little bit dicey if she doesn't get off real well. 5, 7, and 1 in the Gulfstream 9th race.
Gulfstream's 10th and final today, a $16,000 claimer, 4-year-olds and up, mile and a 16th on the grass.
5, 2, and 10. The number 5, Midnight Notes, dropping down from $20,000, where she was a closing second on January 26th. That was at 7.5 furlongs. This is a mile and a 16th. She gets a little bit more distance, but it's the same kind of dynamic because it's 2 turns. But again, that race should set her up really well for today. For second, I have the number 2, Target Sighted. Just going back to his proper level for trainer Jesse Campitelli. 3 races back, 1 for $16,000. Then they kind of elevate him a little bit. Maybe they are afraid to lose him, but back to $16,000 with blinkers on today. Let's put him in the second spot. And for third, the number 10, Vanquisher. Again, draw a line through its last race. That was an off the turf, or before that was a closing third for this same price of $16,000. 5, 2, and 10 in the Gulfstream Park 10th race.
That'll wrap it up for our look at Gulfstream. A little earlier, I looked at Tampa Bay. Those are only a couple of the tracks that you'll be able to enjoy on the network. Don't forget, there's also Dubai racing today as well that we're taking wagers on at Capital.
They're not
TV.
worried about snow and ice either.
No question about that over there. On the network, though, we're going to look at Tampa, Laurel, Gulfstream, Fairgrounds, Oak Lawn, Santa Anita, Northfield, Penn National, Delta Downs, Yonkers, the Meadowlands, and a little bit later on this evening, racing from Australia. If you didn't get a chance to write down our selections, go over to capitalotb.com. And Handicappers Report link makes the selections available there each and every day. You can also catch up with all the promotions here at Capital OTB. Don't forget, Bet 50, Get 50 continues this month. If you sign up and wager $50 into your Capital wagering account, Capital OTB puts another $50 in. You can also use the fabulous wagering platform, capitalotbbet.com. State of the art. I like that.
Very easy to use.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, that'll wrap things up for the Handicappers Report for this Thursday morning. Seth Merrow and Jeff Carl, thanks for joining us. Coming up next, Racing Across America. Stay tuned.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.